Okay, good morning from St. Petersburg, Florida. It's Sunday, September 14th, and it's 6:21 a.m. No sun, no sun, so I can't give you a weather report, not a live one anyway. Um, and it looks like we are being mirrored in these centers. Good morning, Yvonne. Good morning, Treb. Having a little conversation about voting with Treb and Yvonne this morning. Always a good conversation with Treb because he doesn't back down. He believes that we shouldn't vote, and that's what he's sticking to. And in America, it's his right. He can tell us all to fuck off, as Yvonne would love to say. Yvonne would just tell us all to fuck off. that's, that's what Yvonne says. I don't use that kind of language, but Yvonne does. She'll tell you to fuck off. That's what she says. Kind of early on a Sunday to be talking that way, but hey, Catholics do that. We don't care if it's Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. We cuss, we go to church, we get forgiven. All is cool. That's kind of a cool religion that we have there. We can do whatever we want, and then as long as we're sorry, and we just say we're sorry, but you got to mean it. You just can't go out there and say, hey, you know what, I just killed a guy and I'm sorry. You got to mean it. So you go into church, you step into that little box, which is kind of like a standing up coffin, and you talk to a stranger, unless you know your priest. But if you're from out of town and you go to a Catholic church somewhere, you can go in, you say you're sorry. All is well. So Treb doesn't want to vote. He doesn't think that voting helps. He thinks that voting just gets in the way of things. If I'm understanding him right, he thinks that both sides are bad. They don't work. The system doesn't work, and it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't work. On the other hand, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that not voting and both sides are the same. I don't agree with that. If both sides were the same, we wouldn't have all the fighting that we have. We wouldn't have the shutting down of the government. We wouldn't have the lack of funds for some of our social programs like food stamps and unemployment. We can't get unemployment. If you run out of unemployment, sucks to be you. That's what the Republicans say. So if they were both the same, there wouldn't be so much fighting. If they were both the same, President Obama wouldn't have to fight with the Republicans all the time. So they're different. They're different. President Obama wants certain things, and the Republicans say no. Everybody who was born and raised in America they know that that the Republicans are for the rich, and the Democrats are for the not so rich. Because hey, there's a lot of Democrats that are millionaires, are doing pretty darn good, don't have nothing to complain about, and they just can't understand why everybody's upset. And they're Democrats. Can't understand why us poor folks want health care. What do we need? What do you need health care for? You don't do nothing. What do you want to be healthy for? You're not going to do anything today. What are you going to do today? Get out there and smoke and have a beer? Maybe watch your big screen TV or drive around in your Cadillac? That's what some people with money think. They think that that's what we do. They think that we just drive around and we don't do anything. That's what they think. And they're not exactly right about that. Although I would love to have a Cadillac. I would love to have a Cadillac. But Cadillacs aren't cheap. And if you get a Cadillac once in your life, that's about it. You're only going to get one Cadillac. If you're born and raised poor, that's just the way it is. You can't be buying a Cadillac every month or every year or even every 10 years. You've got to have some serious cash to buy a Cadillac. So they think, what do we need health care for? Don't buy so many Cadillacs. Don't get a flat screen TV. Don't get your kids' teeth fixed. Let them run around and all their teeth fall out. Don't send them to a good school. Send them to kind of a good school. What do you need all that stuff for anyway? That's what some people think about poor people. That's what the Republicans think about poor people, and some Democrats with money think that. But mostly Democrats don't think that. Mostly Democrats think that, we have to take care of each other. And because we can't take care of each other, if the neighbor on the right gets sick, for example, and I live in the middle, and then I try to help the neighbor on the right. I ain't got a lot of money or stuff, He ain't got a lot of money or stuff, but he's probably got more than I do. And then my neighbor on the left, he gets sick, and he needs help. Okay, so what do? I can't help them both, but they both need help. That's when you need the government. Because, Republicans think that we should just be able to ask our mom and dads for something. Go to the church. Ask the church for some charity. Yeah, you can do that. Then you get to your mom and dad and you find out they're just as bad off as you are, and they can't help you. So there you are. You're stuck, and you're living in what's supposed to be the richest country in the world. That's what we're told every day. This is the richest country in the world. We have more rights than anybody. But our education is a little lacking. We're like 26 out of 27 countries. And we're not that smart. But somehow we managed to be the richest country in the world. But we're not that smart. So maybe you don't have to be smart to be rich. You just have to be able to hire somebody who is smart. And then you can be rich. Maybe it's that kind of thing. I don't know. I'm not rich. But anyway, I hope Treb, and I'm not even going to try to say his name because I can never, ever say it right. And I learned last year or so, Yvonne is what it looks like, but her name is actually Yvonne. And I used to, I just thought her name was Yvonne. So I call her Yvonne, but it's actually Yvonne. But I guess she writes it in Dutch or whatever they write in the Netherlands. Sorry, Yvonne. I don't know what language still after all these years. I know you're speaking Dutch, I think, over there in the Netherlands. So anyway, that's my little rant about the chat that I was in this morning, talking with Yvonne and Treb about voting. And we have different points of view. And like I told Treb, if he thinks that way, millions of people think that way. So I figure if I could pull Treb over to the voting side, which he says absolutely not, I've managed to grab 1 million people. Crazy math, but what are you going to do? So that is my little rant on voting. So let's see who's up this morning. There's people from the District of Columbia are up. There's people from Egypt, St. Louis, Missouri, worldwide. But you see, again, there's only a few of these channels. This whole thing just used to be loaded with little green lights. People were interested in spreading the word from their area. And all of these people still have computers, but maybe now they have jobs. I don't know. I don't know what happened to them, but I know that it pretty much stopped. And I could probably go down to here and find a thing that'll let me click onto another page. Hey, look, here comes my neighbor coming home this way, and how's he been all night? Good thing I'm not his dad. I'll have to look at all these people. These are all people that are no longer here. Lots of them. I'll bet you there's well over 1,000 people on this site that have registered with this site, and they don't hardly go live anymore. And this used to just be lit up like a green Christmas tree, but not anymore. Either all of the problems got solved, or people became really bad off and don't have their computers anymore, don't go online anymore. They've lost interest in solving any problems. So I don't know exactly what happened, but what I do know is there are 6 channels live, and actually ours should be on there, but you got to reload and restart and go through all kinds of changes. So let's check out the weather. Let's see what's going on with the weather. I gotta watch, keep an eye on my gauges and stuff, because I did an hour show yesterday with no sound. And it happens. We had an interesting guest yesterday, and I want to talk a little bit about that in a minute. So, Seattle, Washington, 60 degrees. Portland, Oregon, 58 degrees. Hayward, California, 61 degrees. Tokyo, Japan, 73 degrees. San Antonio, Texas, 67 degrees. Toledo, Ohio, 50 degrees. Los Angeles, California, 74 degrees. And Denver, Colorado, 49 degrees. I heard they had a little bit of snow in Colorado the other day, so winter's coming. Winter's coming. As you can see, these temperatures are starting to stay low. Look at this. St. Petersburg, Florida, 78 degrees. Corpus Christi, Texas, 70 degrees. San Francisco, California, 61 degrees. Tampa Bay, Florida, 77 degrees. Charlotte, North Carolina, 62 degrees. New York, 54 degrees. Santa Fe, New Mexico, 50 degrees. Amsterdam, Netherlands, where Yvonne is kind of close by there somewhere. I know she's in the Netherlands, and it's 66 degrees. Santa Rosa, California, near where Treb is at. Treb is somewhere near Santa Rosa, California, and it's 57 degrees in California. Gaza, 84 degrees. Finally, this thing changed. It stood at 86 for a few days. I thought it was stuck. Gaza, 84 degrees. Tel Aviv, Israel, 84 degrees. Jerusalem, Israel, 84 degrees. Hilo, Hawaii, 76 degrees. Rotterdam, Netherlands, 64 degrees. And there's another Amsterdam at 66 degrees. So you can see the weather's starting to change. We're moving into fall. All the leaves are going to start falling off the trees, and all of you leaf picker-uppers have to get out there and clean your yard and do all that stuff. We have to do that here in Florida, but I haven't done it too much this year. Just haven't had that old leg has been giving me a fit. And I probably should be careful. I can't do things just because I want to, because I'm liable to launch something I don't want launched, as I got a bunch of clog. I need a rotor-rooter. I'll get that tomorrow. I'm going to show you in a minute what road I'm headed down. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the problems that I'm having, that my government, and maybe, people aren't as lucky as I am. I've been really, really lucky, and maybe that's why I'm so supportive of our government. It didn't solve all of my problems, but I think it solved quite a bit. And, I'm alive today for two reasons. Nina is the number one reason, and my government is the number two reason, because no matter how good my doctors are, they're only going to do so much, or only going to go so far if you don't get into the system. And you can get into the system here in Florida. I was really surprised because our governor, crazy Rick Scott, we couldn't get Medicaid here. We couldn't get that. I thought, oh shit, what's a poor man like me to do? Well, it turns out that you can. But there's different directions you got to go, and we got a thing called Stay Well, and you get into that system there, and then the county helped me out a lot. Helped me. I got all my medicine free, and believe me, the medicine was very expensive if you had to pay for it. It climbs up there really, really fast. Some of those pills are very expensive, and at one time, I think I was taking like 11 of them. So, if you don't get into some kind of system, you just can't do it. If you don't get the government to help you in some way, you just can't do it as a poor man. You can be poor and have stuff. Just because you have stuff doesn't mean, that you're rich. You can run into a serious health problem and have a lot of stuff, but now you can't make any money. So, you have to depend on something, and usually it's the government is the direction that you head into. A lot of people are sitting in a position where they can't quite get help from anywhere, and that's tough. You could understand why they would say, bullshit, you're full of shit, there is no help out there for anybody, because there's no help for them. So the anybody thing is not true. I'm somebody, and I've gotten plenty of help from my government, and I'm going to live until I die of old age, hopefully. This thing they're getting ready to do to me tomorrow is supposed to last me 30 years, and I'm going to show you here in a second. Let me bring that up and zoom that in and kind of give you a little look. You can see it on the screen now. That's an artery. And over here, I hope you can see my little arrow. This will be just like going back to anatomy school. For those of you that went to school, I didn't. I don't even know why I'm even doing this, but I didn't go to school. Not any kind of school that counts, but I went to school enough to know, what side of the fence to play on. So here we go. This right here is where I'm going to get my repairs. This left side is clogged. And because it's clogged, I can't walk. I can't walk, more than, I'd say, at one time, I think I can walk. I built it up. I started out where I could only walk 100 feet before this leg started to completely give out. And that was shortly after I had my heart surgery. And this artery right here, somewhere in there, there's a blockage. And tomorrow, and they ain't even going to skip a beat. I've already stopped eating. That's why I was kind of up early. I wanted to get in my coffee before my time limit. I can't eat or drink anything for 24 hours, and 24 hours is going to start at 9 o'clock. So I got up. I was up at 3:30 this morning having my coffee. I didn't eat anything. I'm going to kind of cooperate as much as I can within reason, and then around 9 o'clock I drink a little bit of water and take my pills. And then again about 9 o'clock tonight I'll drink a little bit of water and I'll take some more pills. But here on the left side right here, there's a blockage. So the way I understand it, and Nina is the one that knows more about this shit than I do. I just participate. And they're going to fix. They're going to give me like a tube, some kind of synthetic tube or something. So I was just thinking they were going to cut something out like this and put something in. That's what I think. But apparently it's not going to work that way. So I don't know exactly how it's going to work. But anyway, this artery right here, they've got to fix it. And they may fix this one at the same time. So this Y right here may be replaced. And if you see this big thing right here, you see this big red thing right here, let me zoom in a little bit, and we're just going to do a real quick anatomy class, and I hope I don't lose anybody or make them throw up. But I'm going to show you just 1 second here why I'm so special. Okay? Because I never thought I was special until this happened to me. And every time I go to a new doctor, which I've been to a few specialists, I got to go to specialists all the time now, they're amazed that I'm alive. They're amazed that I survived this. And I just, I went to sleep, I woke up, and I was repaired. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I feel about it. But they're amazed. I did die twice, so I have some experience in death, and I didn't see the bright lights or the angels, or God didn't come to me. Maybe he's not going to because I'm a big mess up. I don't know. But anyway, I didn't see the things that I was supposed to see, like you see on Nova or something. So this artery right here is going to get repaired tomorrow morning starting at 9 o'clock. But if you see this great big red thing right here, okay, this is my heart right here. And I believe this is the area, one of these areas right in here is where they replaced that valve in my heart. So this big long thing right here, it's my understanding that it was split. It had actually split open. In other words, I shouldn't have even been alive as long as I was alive. So I don't know if it split during the operation, or it was already split, or it got ready to split. But anyway, they had to repair this along with my heart. And now I've got the blockage in my leg. And then when they get all of this all straightened up, I've got my carotid, I never can say that word, this right in here that they've got to go in because I've got some blockage in there. Okay, over here is where your lungs sit in this area here. I had at one time 4 liters. And for those Americans that don't know what 4 liters is, it's those big Coke bottles. That's what they are. I had 4 of them in my lungs, full of fluid. And on 2 occasions, I had to go back into the hospital, and they stick a needle in your back, and they suck all that fluid out of there. And they check it and make sure it's not cancerous, which I don't have cancer, so that's a good thing. So that's going to be my experience tomorrow. And so I was up a little early getting my cup of coffee because I'm a coffee junkie, getting my coffee in there and having my coffee. So that's what's going on this morning. And here's the inside of your arteries. And I think what split was this red skin thing. And it looks like you have, a few layers. But this right here, this red part right in here, I don't know if you're seeing it right. Doesn't look. Oh, okay, let me see. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can move this over a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to do this and show you what broke or was splitting. It was actually splitting. We're like machines. This reminds me of a radiator hose. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a radiator hose. And this red thing right here, I think, is what was splitting or split. So, it wasn't like the whole thing split all the way down. This is the blood coming out right here, this cool little drawing here. And you can see all of the little layers that we have to protect us in case, we've got a bunch of fail safes in our arteries. And I think what happened to me was that this red area right here had split, and I still had this one and all of this and this and this. Look at how cool we've got hoses inside of hoses to protect us in case something goes wrong. And in my case, something went really wrong, and this right here had split. So that's one of the reasons only 2% of the people survive what happened to me. Because it wasn't just one thing, it was like a bunch of things, and they were pretty busy trying to save me. And then after they closed me all up, put me together and everything, this thing was leaking. So they had to open me back up and fix this. So it was an experience, but nothing ever hurt. Really hurt. It was more psychological. The pain was psychological. I didn't trust anybody to touch me, but the way I understand it, all of the things that make you feel had all been cut. So you didn't have really any feelings. So they weren't shy about touching you because, according to science, you're not supposed to feel anything. But that's kind of like when you cut your arm off, you've got the phantom arm is still there. You still think you have the arm. I think that's what was happening to me, is that I thought I could feel it. And actually, according to science, you're not supposed to be able to feel it. So I never really had any pain. I did take a lot of pain medicine, but as soon as I could get off of it, I got off of it because I never did have any pain. And I didn't like being sleepy all the time. My problem was in my lungs. I don't know, for about 2 months or something, I couldn't sleep. I had to sleep in a chair sitting up for about 2 months. Some of you remember that because I talked to you when all of this was going on. But tomorrow morning, I'll get up like a shiny new penny, and I've got to take a special kind of shower. I've got to put this antibiotic stuff all over my body and then let it sit there for 5. I guess I take a shower first, wash my hair, normal shower. And then I got to spread this stuff all over my body, antibiotics or something, all over my body. And I let it sit for 5 minutes. And then I rinse it off, and then off to the hospital I go, and I guess I'm sanitized. I got to be sanitized before they'll even touch me. I've already got they already put those little hospital bracelets on me, and I was at the doctor on Friday. I think I was there on Thursday. They took 3 little bottles of blood, and then they should have taken 5, or they take 2 I guess a few days before. I don't know exactly, but they should have taken 5 and they only took 3, so I had to go in on Friday and get 2 more taken out. So Saturday morning I will be under the knife, and they will be trying to repair me again. And this is one of the things that when I talk about the government, one of the reasons that I'm so pro voting, I'm so pro government, because you just can't pay for this sort of thing. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's just no way, and President Obama said it all the time. You shouldn't have to lose your house because you get sick. I didn't lose my house. Nina will, if something happens to me, Nina will have a place to live. She won't have to worry about somebody taking the house from her. These are some of the things that our government did. These are some of the things that the Democrats did. Like I said, when I first started down the system, the hospital started to get the ball rolling. It didn't work out exactly as planned, but in the end it did work out. The hospital started to get me set up for disability, Social Security disability, and tried to get me hooked up with Medicaid. And in Florida, we don't have Medicaid like we should have, because Rick Scott, the governor here, turned down billions of dollars from the federal government that the whole country chips in to pay, so guys like me don't have to die if you can get into the system. Now, there's a chatter that's sick right now. XTW318, I think, is the screen name of this chatter. And he or she, because I never really know if it's a male or a female, I don't remember XTW. I kind of remember the name, but I don't remember any conversations or anything like that. So anyway, XTW has cancer and is struggling financially because of the cancer. And I was lucky enough to have Nina, and believe me, she went through some shit. Tons of paperwork, just stacks of it. And she never gave up, and eventually, I got everything that I needed. I got hooked up with the county, thanks to Nina, and then eventually I got my disability thanks to Nina, and now I'm hooked up with all these surgeons and doctors and people that care about me, thanks to the government, thanks to Nina. But apparently XTW doesn't have a significant other or family or people that can help him get through this kind of hard thing. And Abby over in Dissenters is trying to help, and I think they'll be taking some kind of donations, small donations. If we're in these chats, we usually ain't loaded down with a bank account, and dragging our wallets because it's got so much money in it. So he's having this, or she's having this financial trouble, and Abby said that she was going to help with his internet, because you wouldn't think, you might just think, well, you know what, you can't afford the internet, you shouldn't have it. The internet is not like it used to be. It's no longer just a toy, it's a tool. And there's a lot you can do with it. For example, even now, if he is able to get people to donate to him and help him financially, then he's going to need this internet to stay in contact with the people who are going to be, able to donate whatever they can donate. He's going to need the internet to stay in contact, to keep his spirits up, to know that people care. That's really important when you're sick like that, especially if you don't have a significant other, is to know that people care about you. And a lot of times the people don't even know you, but people a lot of times think there but the grace of God go I. You don't have to believe in God to believe in that, but it could be you. It could be you sitting on the other end of that screen with nobody. Fortunately, most of the people that I talk to on the internet, they have somebody, but it's my understanding that he's going through this or she's going through this by themselves. So what happens to you when you get this sick is your mental capabilities start to diminish. I noticed that there was no way I could have read and dealt with that ton of paperwork that Nina did, because they said that when I died them 2 times that it affected my brain. Well, I said, good luck trying to detect that one. People's always said I had brain problems, so now I have a paper to prove it. Yeah, your brain is broke, and it got broke when you died them 2 times. I guess that's what happened. But if you don't have anybody helping you, and your mental capabilities start to diminish, it can really, really be a problem. It isn't that you don't want to. It isn't that there isn't help out there. It's you can't. You just can't. You're sick, and you're really sick. I mean, all of us have had the cold or a flu or whatever and felt shitty. But one of the things that we know is in about 2 or 3 days we're going to feel better. Well, some cancer patients or heart patients or whatever, serious health problem people, don't have that I'm going to be better in 3-day thing. Some of us just get used to the way we're going to be and depend on our doctors to make us feel the best they possibly can. One doctor told me about my leg, this isn't about making you feel better. If we don't do this, you may lose your legs. We may have to cut off your legs. I never thought of that. I just wanted to feel better. I wanted to be able to walk and cut the grass and clean the gutters and clean the pool and, just do some of the stuff around the house. Clean the garage, just stuff. That's what I was thinking. Well, he told us straight up, no, this ain't about making you feel better. If we don't get after this, you can lose your leg or legs. You could see, the 2 arteries here. Let me get that picture back up here. I hope I'm not grossing you out so early in the morning. But if I am, change the channel. I got to talk about this. There might be somebody out there that I'm giving a clue to. Somebody's getting chest pains and not paying attention to them like they should. But it is XTW318. I just got a note from my office manager. I'm sure she likes to hear that. XTW318 is the one that is going to need help, and that's the one that I'm talking about. So it's not, she writes here, it's not XTW317. I thought I was saying 318. But one of the things that happened to my brain is my speech. It affects my speech. It affects, you wouldn't think so, but these carotid arteries right in here that I'm pointing to affects your sinuses. So much gets affected you don't even notice it. Like I said, these right here, if I don't get this fixed, they may have to chop this off. All of this stuff here may have to go because you get gangrene. I'm already feeling some numbness in my toes. I've kind of always felt that, but it's not so bad, so you just don't notice it. You don't pay attention to these sort of things. And fortunately for me, the doctors do. But, again, XTW318 is going to need some help. And like I said, what happens is that you can't help yourself. You want to, you should, but, that get up and go has got up and gone. And you just can't do some of the things that you used to do. And after a while, you're just kind of walking around like an empty shell. And if nobody is helping you, do some of the things like doing some of the research to get the social service information that he needs in his area. I right away I recommended Catholic charities. Catholic charities have always been good about helping people who truly can't help themselves. And even in some cases, they'll help people who are just homeless, but they can help themselves. What am I doing? Oh, is it XTW317? Oh, okay. it is XTW317, not XTW318, who is going to need this help. but I'm sure that all the chatters in dissenters, and I think he was a frequent chatter in Global Revolution, and which probably means he was in GOAN and OPN. So it's XTW 317 that is going to need help in more ways than financial. You know, if you can send a little bit of money, I think Abby from Dissenters is starting to organize that, because yesterday she said that she was going to try to help him with his internet service. And like I said, you know, you might think, well, why should we pay for his internet? You know, and under any other circumstances, I would agree. But when a person is sick, the internet, right now I've got this tool and I'm showing you, you know, what's wrong with me. Well, XTW will be able to do the same. And, you know, you can get in there. It's the new phone book. You don't have to go through the yellow pages anymore to find all of these Catholic charities, or to contact your social services and start making appointments and start getting the ball rolling, because you can't wait. This is not a wait game when you have cancer. But usually who will help you get started, and I don't know exactly everything about XTW, but I imagine and then again, you know, I'm personally running out of time as far as being able to help anybody immediately, because like I said, tomorrow morning I'll be in surgery myself, and I understand they're going to keep me for a week. But I will take my computer, and as soon as I'm able to talk, I'm coming live and telling you guys what happened to me, and hopefully I can talk. Hopefully everything goes well. I'm not worried about it, because I'm just not. I don't know why I'm not. I just, you know, I'm pretty messed up, but I'm just not worried about it. I don't know why. The only thing I concern myself with is how Nina feels. But personally, it doesn't bother me. So what XTW is going to need is, you know, he can use a little bit of cash if you can spare it. Kick him out a couple of bucks, whatever you can. And if you can't, you know, I mean, don't feel all guilty about it, because like I said, you know, on the right your neighbor has a problem, then on the left your neighbor has a problem, then the guy across the street has a problem, and his neighbor has a problem, and then we have our own problems. So, but there are other things that we could do, and I may be doing them from my hospital bed, and that's researching the social services in XTW's area, you know, because like I said, what got us going, you know, as soon as I got sick, was the hospital. Right away they kicked into gear, because why? They wanted to get paid. So they had to find out what I was eligible for, because I didn't have insurance. I didn't have any of that stuff. And so I was worried like hell that they were going to take my house. But in the back of my mind, I always heard they can't do that. That's one of the things they can't take. They can garnish your check, but I wasn't working. But they can't take your house. I don't know if they could take our cars. I don't think they could take both of them. But, you know, all these little problems got solved, and the hospital got us going. And I don't understand why somebody who is sick, like XTW, who is getting chemotherapy, if I understand it right, isn't getting any kind of help. Because normally, and I really shouldn't say normally, because I'm starting to sound like this. I've had this problem all my life, and I haven't. But it's my experience that
it's 7
that the
o'clock.
hospitals will start pushing you in the right directions. The hospital is the one that told us about the county, and that I could go get my medicine free from the county, because I'm telling you, the medicine is very expensive, and it can put people into financial ruin if they weren't already there. I mean, if you don't have any money to start with, and then you can't get your medicine, well, what was the point in saving you? If you can't get aftercare, you can't afford aftercare, then what was the point in saving you? Well, the point is you can get aftercare, but you got to know how to get it. It's there. We hear it all the time. I hear it all the time in these chats, all the stuff we don't have. And I just have to disagree with that. From experience. There's a lot of stuff we do have. And I'm living proof. And I'm telling you right now that I don't know. I think he's in Illinois, and I'm starting to think that that would be Chicago. And I'm starting to think that the Democrats are there. And if the Democrats are there, then maybe they got Medicaid, that they got that money from President Obama, and that XTW 317 should be getting all of the help in style without losing his dignity, getting good medical care. But if he's not feeling good, if he can't do it because the chemo makes him sleep too much or makes him too weak, he can't handle his own business. Even if he wanted to, he can't handle it. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody who can't do what they'd like to do if they felt better. And that's the kind of help that XTW could get from all of our computers from all over the country. Research. Find out, what are the charities that will help him pay his electric bill? What are the charities that'll help him keep his internet if possible? What are the charities that'll help him keep his phone? What are the charities that'll help him get food? What are the charities that'll help him pay his rent? There's help out there. He may not be able to stay where he's at. He may have to move into it, and I'm speaking from some of the things that I've seen in Denver, that they have a lot of housing for people who are sick or disabled and can't work and are on low income, like disabilities or even Social Security. In this day and age, it takes quite a bit of money to survive. And disability and unemployment insurance and Social Security alone, it's very difficult in a lot of parts of the country to survive on that kind of money. It's not too far to think that you can pay $1,000 a month for rent. Even $700 a month for rent is pretty hard. And if you don't have an income or a low income, you're not going to do it. It's not going to happen unless the government helps you. Like I said, these Catholic charities, they'll, and the reason I say Catholic charities is because them are the only ones I know, that I ever even pay attention to. I don't know of any other kind. Most of the time, and the people that I seen get help, they would get it from Catholic charities. And my brother had a massive heart attack, quite a few years ago, about 10 years ago or so. And, he was a foreman. He worked every day, sometimes 10 hours a day. But still, when you have a serious problem like a heart attack, boom, it's like, a lot of money right away, and it's just hard to pay that off. You just can't pay it off. It's like buying a house, of which he was buying a house. So between his house and his car payments and trying to feed his kids and stuff, he just didn't have the money. He worked, but he didn't have the money. He didn't have the insurance that he had, didn't cover that kind of bill. So Catholic Charities stepped in and paid his hospital bill and paid for his pills and everything until he was able to get the government tuned up and on his side. And once he did that, then, life was good for him. As good as it could be under the circumstances. But at least he wasn't financially ruined and ended up out on the street. Because it used to happen. It may still happen today. But I think today a lot of the problem isn't that nobody will help you. It's that you haven't been able to find the resources. And when you're sick, really sick, like XTW, and like I said, even myself, if I didn't have Nina to take care of all this shit for me, I might sound all right, but, I couldn't read all of that stuff anymore. I just couldn't do it. And I would have just said, you know what? I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants, and if they don't know I need help, well, sucks to be me. That's pretty much the attitude that I had. But then I had Nina, And it was a lot easier for me to think that way. Hey, somebody else is going to do this. And it wasn't that I didn't want to. I did that for my mom for a lot of years, like 20 years I did that for my mom. And I took care of all the paperwork and took care of her, all the pills that she needed. I handled her finances. I handled all of that stuff for my mom. So it wasn't like I was a stranger to it. It wasn't like I was afraid of it or lazy or anything. It wasn't anything like that. I just couldn't do it. There's parts of your brain that aren't working the way they used to. Parts that, I don't play chess as well as I used to. But then other things kick in. Your compassion for other people and your emotions, they start to like go on steroids. In the beginning, I couldn't believe how emotional I was. I'd watch a sad movie and I just was doing everything in my power to fight that emotion. So stuff happens to you when you get really, really sick. Like I said, not like a cold or the flu, but like chemotherapy, or they repair your heart, or all these arteries that I'm getting fixed. Stuff happens to you, and whether you want to or not, you're not in control anymore. They tell you what to do, they tell you where to be, and you just do that. You start to just do that. You don't even question it. I really just started looking at these diagrams here, in the past week or so. A couple of weeks, Nina and I was checking out my heart and looking at the diagrams of my heart and what that valve looked like and what causes it and all of that stuff, and then checking out my arteries now that I've got this little thing to do tomorrow. Well, I guess it ain't a little thing. I guess it's kind of serious, but like I said, it none of it bothers me. And there's other people out there with the same kind of problems that need help, that don't have anybody to help them. So it's up to you. Nobody's trying to send you out on a guilt trip, but we look up the news and we see what's happening in Syria, and we see what's happening in all over the world. What's going on? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with our government? We'll research this thing till like beating a dead horse. What's wrong, why we shouldn't do this, and why we shouldn't do that. We'll just keep looking it up and looking it up. And then after we got that looked up, we'll look up some more. Well, if you have a little extra time, look up something for XTW 317 and see if you can lighten his or her load a little bit, because not everybody has even an extra dollar. People would say, well, damn, it's only $1. I went to pick up my pills the other day, and I pulled into the parking lot there feeling good. Sometimes these pills make you feel good, but you're still a little you're mentally challenged, but you feel good. It doesn't bother you to be mentally challenged. You feel all right. Most of your blood is where it should be, and you feel okay. So I jumped out of the van, and ready to go get my prescription, and this guy walks up to me down on his luck, and normally I don't kick out money like that. And he asked me, you got a couple of bucks, I can get a sandwich. And I didn't hesitate. I gave him the couple of dollars, and I went about my way. Felt a little good about myself, helped my fellow man. Went in, picked up my pills, of which people were helping me get because the government was paying for it. And the government is the people, my friends. The government is the people. So somebody else was paying for my medication, and I felt, okay, I've got a couple of bucks. I just happened to have a couple of bucks. And I didn't even have it in my wallet. I had it in the van for the tolls. We got to pay when we traveled around Florida. So Nina and I had went on a trip, and I missed one toll, so I had a couple of extra bucks. So I gave them to him. I gave him the money, and then I had to go to another store to get my carrot cake. I love carrot cake, but only one store has it. So I went to the other store, and I pull into the parking lot. There's another guy who needs a couple of bucks, and he had a really sad story that his dad was in the hospital, and he was about to get heart surgery, and he would give me the keys to his house as collateral, and he didn't even say how much money he was needing, but he was getting there, And I looked at him, and I told him, "You're already the third person." I stretched the truth a little bit. I said, "You're the third person that's hit me up for money in the last 15 minutes, and it was only like 5 minutes." So that's the thing, is that we can't always give $1 here and $1 there and $1 here and $1 there, because it starts to add up. Not to mention that after a while you start to feel a little, uncomfortable, because you feel like, what are they doing with the dollar? You start going down that road. Are they out getting drunk? Well, I could buy me a beer with that dollar. Or I could buy me, some wine with that dollar. I can get high myself. Why am I giving it to this person? And then it ain't the first person. So you start analyzing everything, why you shouldn't do it. And then, in the back of your mind, you really didn't want to do it anyway. So you've got an excuse. You've got an excuse not to do it. And that's okay. It's your money. You shouldn't have to explain it to anybody. If you don't want to help, just say no. Nobody should make you feel bad because you don't have any money to give to some stranger. Nobody should make you feel bad about that. But a lot of people, I noticed online, do want to help in some way, but they just don't have the money. So another way that you could help is do some research. See if you can find all of the social agencies that would help this guy with, with his chemo, with his bills, and his food, and just all the basics that we all get really used to having. When people talk about bringing down the government and all of that stuff, I keep thinking to myself, no, I like getting up and just flipping that switch and the lights come on, or I like getting up and just turning that faucet and the water comes on, and I like getting in my car and just driving down the road and there's a road there. I like all of them things, and it's our tax dollars that does a lot of that. Our tax dollars may not turn the lights on, and our tax dollars may not bring the water to our house, but our tax dollars regulate them companies and make sure that they're not cheating us, which here in Florida they found out that they were actually cheating us. So the government got after them, like ExxonMobil and BP and Halliburton and these big corporations, and the banks. The banks have been in hot water lately, but they've got so much money that when you charge them $1 billion in fines, they make it up, the next month. But the thing is that, that the little guy sometimes doesn't have access to a lot of things, and when you're sick, you don't feel like helping yourself. And it's not lazy. It's not that they don't care. It's just your mind isn't working right. And you're tired. I hear chemotherapy knocks the hell out of you. And like I said, if you don't have anybody, if you haven't acquired a social worker at this point, then, you should have already have a social worker. If you don't have an income anymore, you're getting to the point where you don't have any food, you can't afford the medicine, you should already have a social worker working on all these things. Getting you to the right agencies, even sending a car for you. There's all kinds of stuff that they'll do for you. Denver was a great place to live if you should be down on your luck. Florida isn't so bad either. Like I said, I was really surprised how things turned out for me here in Florida because, all the things that we hear about Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security and all that stuff that the Republicans don't want us to have it, and, you're just scared. And then you walk into these hospitals and the people treat you so good. They don't even care, if you don't have any money or whatever. They treat you so good. It's just kind of a shock to deal with that sort of kindness. But again, if you don't have the mental strength to find all of these resources, you can die. It's that simple. You can actually die. Because if nobody is keeping an eye on you, and you get to a point that you can't even do it anymore yourself, and nobody's even noticed that, because maybe you have an appointment to see a doctor once a week or once a month, whatever, because they're used to, they know how long you can go before they've got to see you again, because it's not only happening to you, it's happening to a lot of people. It's their job to know. And then you've got to be fit into a schedule, because there's other people that are sick like you too. So you've got to have somebody watching your back. And if you don't have somebody in your corner, like I said, like I do with Nina, then you may have to go all the way into cyberspace, and some of those people that you know in cyberspace might be your only source of help as far as researching a lot of things. And then, like I said, if somebody can kick out a couple of bucks, lighten the load a little bit, who cares what he does with it? If he goes and buys him a bottle of wine or a can of beer, who cares? What difference does it make? He isn't getting chemotherapy because, he wants to stay young forever. Sick. And if you feel that, just saying, well, he should have done this and he should have done that, being somebody that is basically in them shoes, last thing I want to hear is what I should have done or what I could have done, because them days are gone. It doesn't matter what I should have done or what I could have done or what I should do. I'm here right now. This is where I'm at. And it's serious. It's a serious business. It's a life or death situation. You can, if you don't get the things that you need because you can't afford them, and the reason you can't afford them is because you didn't research your resources, you can die. That's how serious it can get. And like I said, I don't know XTW 317, but Nina and I will do what little bit we can do to lighten his load a little bit. And like I said, I'll be having some problems of my own come tomorrow morning. I don't view it as a problem, but the people that won't be sleeping through it like I will be, I'm sure they're a little bit nervous what's about to happen to me, because as you can see, that picture there, that chubby little guy, and that looks just like me, chubby little guy just like that, they got to go in there and do some work, and some talented people are going to be working on me. That was one of the things. I'll be going into a Catholic hospital. If it's not a Catholic, somebody is, doing something wrong. They're calling it St. Anthony's, and St. Anthony's, that's Catholic. Nobody else calls things saints but the Catholics. So I'll be going into a Catholic hospital, and of course, the people there are Catholics or want to be Catholics or some kind of religious people, because everybody says God bless you. And thank God that that you made it. And this nurse happened to tell me that, and I'm prepared for the thank God thing. And I said, I'll be thanking my doctors. I'll be thanking my surgeons, and how they got to be surgeons, that's up to the surgeon to be thankful for his skills or her skills. But I personally will be thanking my doctors.